Hello, my name is Ashley Badrian, and today I will be exploring my question, to what extent do video games foster violent behavior? The significance of this question and how it came to be was looking through the stimulus, Video Games and Education, article by Kurt Squire, a professor at UCLA and a former director of learning, discussed how video games and computers hold potential as educational tools and how it was being underused in that time period. Margaret E. Gretler, PhD and professor of educational and psychology and research at the University of South Carolina, in her article Education, Games, and Simulations, Technology of a Research Paradigm, also investigated how simulations could be used as potential tools to help increase our learning. In both articles, they addressed key topics, one of which was the concern of how video games would affect aggression in children. The significance for both of them is how it will affect our current youth and generation, and how it will help them or impede them from making decisions in the future. Some worry that it will increase depersonalization and the willingness to go to war in future political leaders, while others advocate that it would promote creativity and critical thinking and would further help develop our society. Looking at it socially, video games help people communicate. It is found that they help people connect with others through common interests and with social media. It helps them develop social skills, and many games help promote team building. Quoted by Squire that video games are increasing in complexity, incorporating story, character development, and collaboration in game design. This is how most games would be used as tools, not aggression. On that topic, most games that use violence as a tool often have compelling storylines or are used to mimic real life. Games such as Minecraft, where your objective is to explore, helps promote ingenuity and creativity in building while fending off monsters, which promotes an interesting element to a rather simple game. And other games such as wrestling or UFC fighting help mimic the sport and increase interest in those topics. Some concerns people have are that the outside influence of media on younger children, being connected with older children in our generation, would adults and parents generally worry that bad influences could be projected onto their children. However, it is shown that elders' influence can be a good thing through the screen. It also helps people and students develop their own social skills and ability to socialize with peers or just a myriad of other people, and it allows them to learn how to handle others in potentially aggressive situations. Looking at it economically, over 161.8 million consoles are held in households across the U.S. Considering that the U.S. population currently is at 322 million, that's over half of the population that has access to video games. It's a very widespread market. Patricia M. Greenfield, psychologist with a PhD in human and cultural development, claims that video games have taken a major role in developing visual intelligence on a mass scale, producing learners with capabilities that match the visual demands of modern science. Essentially, people who grow up playing games are more adapted to the technology used in modern day, and because of this, it allows an increase in technological and program sales, as well as vested interest in the subject. Concerns to this would be that this would cause a positive feedback loop, that the influence from violent video games would cause addiction in people and cause more people to play it more often, increasing the sales of violent video games, making it an increasingly more popular market, which would then be widespread and so on and so forth. However, not all games are violent games, and game rating restrictions often impede like younger children from having access to these games to be influenced and affected by it. Scientifically, there was a study done by S.M. Grusser and R. Thalman, who both have PhDs in medical psychology and health and humanities, and from Berlin, Germany, and M.D. Griffiths, who has his PhD in psychology from Nottingham, UK. The study done had subjects answer 2 online questionnaires concerning video games, and with variables as their aggressive behavior and violent attitudes. And though it found that 12% of participants complied with 3 or more modified criteria for addiction, it also found that there was no strong correlation between aggressiveness, the addiction, and the players themselves. So concerns in this case would be that while the potential for addiction is strong, and it is, the concerns also go through some depersonalization and derealization. Studies are correct in concerning game addiction. There are no conclusive studies that are consistent in acknowledging and correlating that video games increase aggression. Thus, it can be determined that there is no strong correlation between video games and aggression, and that video games are more likely to promote ingenuity, social skills, and creativity, as long as critical thinking skills, as opposed to increased violence.